Hi, and welcome to GeekWire. I'm GeekWire co-founder Todd Bishop.
And I'm GeekWire co-founder John Cook.
We are coming to you from Sound Transit's 2 line.
I think we're underneath the university right now. We're on the 1 line?
This is the 2 line, I'm pretty sure. Are you sure you're on the right train?
He rides it all the time. We never do. So maybe we're on the wrong train.
But it said to Redmond.
It says 2 line to downtown Redmond. We're trying to get to Redmond.
We're trying to get to Redmond, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Are we good?
We're good.
Okay, all right.
Good. Thank God we're good.
This week on the GeekWire Podcast, the first podcast ever recorded on the first light rail ever to cross a floating bridge. It's an engineering marvel decades in the making. The bridge, that is, not the podcast. Although juggling a couple of handheld mics and a portable recorder on a crowded train, we did have to overcome some logistical challenges to make it happen. Let's jump in. We are traveling, it seems, from Seattle's Northgate neighborhood across Lake Washington to Microsoft's campus in Redmond. We're experiencing firsthand what has quickly become the daily commute for many tech workers and others across the region. This is the Cross Lake Connection, the line that took nearly 60 years, John.
60?
To get from idea to reality. It's been open for less than 2 weeks. Microsoft is our podcast sponsor this month, and we've got some special surprises planned. We'll be talking about the train and our experiences as we go. And if all goes according to plan, I think we might just have the best GeekWire Trivia Challenge ever at the end of this show.
Can't wait. Coming to you from probably under Capitol Hill at this point.
But first, we've got some tech news to talk about on a train. John, you had a big scoop this week. I was really fascinated by the story that you got to dig into. You don't get to do as much reporting these days.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I kind of went down this rabbit hole on this company called Anduril Industries, which is actually building autonomous warships on the Lake Washington Ship Canal. So we have a lot of autonomy and a lot of AI and robotics in the Seattle area, and this is a defense company that is kind of quietly setting up shop on the southern part of the Lake Washington Ship Canal. So very interesting company with a lot of funding behind them.
This is a company that many people will know even from 60 Minutes. Palmer Luckey, the Oculus VR creator, runs Anduril. He's close to the Trump administration, and he's been featured on national news for his views on autonomous warcraft, warships, drones, and it's obviously a very relevant topic right now. John, what I loved about this story was that you started down a completely different path. It was just simply an example of your curiosity leading you to a discovery, really, because you started pursuing a completely different story than you ended up with.
Yeah, there's a competing company called Saronic Technologies that is based out of Austin, Texas, that is actually also making autonomous warcraft. And I started exploring them to see if they might be setting up shop in the Seattle area. And as it turns out, they're not, as far as we could find out. But in that process, I did come across Anduril's new operation at the Old Foss Shipyard.
So the Navy just launched a rapid procurement program to get autonomous vessels deployed by September 2027. So this is an example of the U.S. military, the U.S. government really trying to move quickly to keep up with our enemies abroad.
Yeah, and you see what's happening with the war in Iran right now in the Strait of Hormuz and drone warfare. And so autonomous vessels are the next generation of what's happening with the U.S. Navy.
I got to tell you, John, my favorite part of this story, apart from your curiosity and how it led you to someplace interesting, was the fact that on Friday afternoon, as with most good ideas around GeekWire, at happy hour, we had the idea of calling on GeekWire photographer Kevin Lasota to bring his drone. Yes, he's Part 107 certified,
yeah,
and to put it up over the Lake Washington Ship Canal and to use a drone in the air to get a picture of this drone warship facility. So that was a fun moment. I was a little nervous with him putting that drone up over the ship canal.
He did a great job navigating through the trees, across the power lines, and we should say he is a licensed drone operator, so we were legally doing this. But amazing day in Seattle, beautiful day, and we got some fantastic overhead shots of the Foss Shipyard.
I got to tell you, John, as you're saying that, I'm sitting here thinking we are on the wrong side of this train. You know, I got advice from someone at Sound Transit before we started this trip, and they said on a day like today, you want to be on the right side, literally.
Well, we can
right
maybe
side.
move as people reposition. The other thing that strikes me here, Todd, as we are now, I think we're still under Capitol Hill at this point, probably headed towards the International District, is that it's crowded. Here we are recording at, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we're struggling to find a seat in here.
That's right. And in fact, I think I might be sitting in places I shouldn't be
sitting.
Yes,
you're in the handicap zone, but
let's not put that on the show.
We had to spread out and get this handled.
People have been accommodating for us. So, John, what are your overall thoughts on this? It's going to take about an hour, by the way, we think.
Okay. We'll have plenty of content here for the show today.
It's going to take an hour for us to get from Northgate, which is in the northern section of Seattle, obviously, to Redmond across the bridge.
Headquarters of Microsoft.
And that is a long time, but at the same time, you're able to just sit here and
shoot the breeze and do a podcast with one of your good pals. So the first thing I'm struck by, Todd, you know I'm a big fan of the tap-to-pay technology, and so that works seamlessly getting onto the train, which I absolutely love, which is the idea with your mobile wallet. You can easily just go in with your credit card and tap and pay, and you're on and you're ready to roll.
And it tells you exactly how long you have until the pass expires. So I'm impressed as well. And this is something I've talked about on the show recently. You're able to use this on King County Metro, on all sorts of different transit around, including the light rail. So, yeah, go ahead.
You want to break in?
Yeah, go ahead.
Here, why don't you speak into the mic? We have a frequent user of light rail who wants to jump in here.
Want to say your name or
say your name? Rolf.
So I tell you what, you're talking about it costs $3 to get in here. They have no way of monitoring if people paid or not. So there's no door or gate that you have to go through. The one thing, I do feel safe here. They got security guards all over the place, which is nice. But homeless people or other people, they even give them free Orca cards, but they hang out in here a lot. They take it from the very beginning to the very end, get out, because they all have to get out, and then they get back in and ride it. All through winter, because it's warm in here.
So you'd like to see a little more policing, a little more enforcement on how you get on and off the train.
Yeah, because it's free.
It's basically free. Yeah, you could very easily bypass paying to get onto the train.
And so we paid millions of dollars on this project. Sure, it took 30 years or however long it takes, but it could be better security.
A quick note here, our impromptu guest and fellow light rail passenger who earlier almost had us convinced we were on the wrong train did not mention the Sound Transit fare ambassadors, whom we have seen going through the trains in the past, checking passes and removing people who haven't paid. Just for the record. At any rate, back to the train.
How frequently do you use the train?
Once a week.
Once a week. And what are you using it for primarily?
This is just for fun. I have an e-bike.
Okay.
And
that almost looks like a motorcycle more than an e-bike to me, but that's pretty burly.
Yeah. But there's all kinds. But see, this is what I do for entertainment. This is my fun thing.
Thanks, Rolf.
For I know we're at
really
Symphony
good.
Station, so we're right downtown now.
So, John, my other favorite story of the week was one that I got to chase. It was Bryson DeChambeau, the two-time U.S. Open champion. He, a few years ago, got to using this app called Sportsbox AI, which is a Seattle startups app, to analyze his swing. And he gave it a shout out after he won the U.S. Open for the first time in 2024. And then after that, he ended up investing in the company. And the story this week was he led a group that acquired Sportsbox AI. So Bryson DeChambeau, the U.S. Open champion 2 times in golf, is now a Seattle startup entrepreneur.
Yes. Maybe he should be up for a GeekWire award next year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll
have to get him out.
They call him the mad scientist. And
he's very into tech.
He's very into tech. He's very into analytics. He's trying to figure out how his swing works. And they didn't disclose the terms, but he bought out a really prominent investor group, and this was just one of those kind of surprising stories of the week.
Well, we'll see if that AI technology helps him win the Masters this weekend.
It's funny you should say that, because not only is he relying on AI, but after our story broke about him acquiring the company, he told ESPN that he's playing the Masters with a 5-iron fabricated by himself on a 3D printer.
Oh, wow. He is a real geek. We'll have to have him on the podcast
I was
sometime.
Thinking,
yeah, let's invite him on.
See you later, Rolf.
See you, Rolf. Happy trails.
He would be a great guest speaker at an event.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to get him when it's off PGA season. I think we're right in the heart of it right now with the Masters going on. But, yeah, let's have him on the show or invite him to Seattle. I'll go play around with him at Sahali and really embarrass myself.
So that again was Bryson DeChambeau leading an investor group that is acquiring Sportsbox AI, which is a Seattle startup that has lots of interesting roots in town. It was part of an incubator that started in Bellevue, and just a really interesting company.
Great story. Nice scoop.
All right, so where are we now?
We are in the International District, Chinatown. We're saying goodbye to our guest, Rolf, who was on what he calls an e-bike. I call that a souped-up motorcycle of sorts.
It looks like a dirt bike. It looks like a dirt bike,
it looks
Rolf.
like a dirt bike. I think that's hard to pass as an e-bike in my mind.
It's on right now?
You're just gonna buzz this. You're gonna buzz off this thing and ride right up the escalator and go out. Yeah, just cruise right out of here.
Coming up next, a special guest, Henry Bendon from Sound Transit, joins us on the train to talk about the new commute between the region's tech hubs and the remarkable engineering behind the new Cross Lake connection.
Hey guys.
Hey, Henry.
Hey, how's it going? I'm John Cook.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
This is fun. We haven't done
A live podcast?
We've done TV from the train before,
Yeah.
but we haven't done
We are certainly in experimental mode here because we're kind of winging this as we go.
Cutting edge.
Yes, I wouldn't call this cutting edge, but we've had a great voyage so far. It's crowded on here.
Yeah. So we don't yet have our formal ridership numbers. We did see 205,000 people approximately on opening day, which is our second biggest day ever, right behind Seahawks Super Bowl parade day. But anecdotally, we have been out here, seeing this, 2 p.m. in the middle of a workday, and we are going across with more people on this single train car than could fit on a 550 bus. So this is, it's been crowded, it's been nice, and that's what you want to see from a new transit system is usage. We'll see the ridership patterns have definitely been changing on the east side. You see pictures of how full downtown Bellevue station has been. Downtown Redmond obviously was the big station on the east side before we opened to the Cross Lake because of all those apartments and all the people commuting to east side jobs from their apartments out there. But now we have all the housing to the north, everything else. What are you guys thinking of it?
We like it so far. Now, I should introduce you on the show. This is Henry Bendon, better known on Instagram as Henry on Board. He is a Sound Transit Public Information Officer, and I arranged for Henry to meet up with us at the International District Station. So, Henry, you were talking about the ridership so far. What's been the thing that surprised you most of all? Oh, and I have to say, this is getting exciting. We're starting to head toward I-90.
Yeah, so we're on the converted D2 busway. If you were on the train with us, we're on the side where we're looking out at beautiful downtown Seattle. We can see mountains in both directions, and this train is about to pick up speed momentarily. We have made the turn, and we're heading towards a section of track where we will start getting up to when highway traffic is next to us, we'll be dusting them. This train, I think we knew would be popular. I mean, this is something that people have been dreaming about since the 60s, since Forward Thrust in 1968. But as we go over I-5 and we see how packed the freeways are, I mean, it's not a surprise to say that people want to choose the option where they get to sit back, relax, and not deal with that. And we're seeing that for 90 as well.
We are just crossing over I-5, and I can attest, northbound is clogged up. Per usual.
Northbound and southbound clogged up per usual.
Yeah.
I mean, it speaks to how important it is to have high-capacity mass transit and to have, our own right-of-way. The buses do a great job. Buses have been doing a great job, but being able to ride on a train, there's a reason that this is the global standard for how to move people around an urban area, and we're about to see it now.
So when will we see the first ridership numbers? Because I'm very interested on how the usage is going.
It's an excellent question. So the way ridership is calculated on transit across the country is really interesting. It starts with automatic people counters, which are devices that are on board each train, which count the boardings. But then you have to download that data and run a factored statistical analysis to make sure that you're not double counting people, to identify any gaps in your data and model that back out and to bring that back around. And what we've seen as we continue to expand the system over and over, right? We had a big expansion of service in December, and then we turned around and did this, and all of a sudden it feels like Federal Way's been part of the system forever. We're still getting up to speed with all of our statistics. They should be back shortly, but it's something people are working on.
I know that it's been standing room only on the train on some commutes. How many cars do you have on each route? And is there relief on the way for the capacity?
So yes, we run a mix of 2 and 3 car trains on the 2 line. The 1 line is continued to run the full 4 car, 800 people on board trains. What we saw is when we did 2 car trains during simulated service, and there were massive crowding in downtown Seattle and up to Linwood where people were able to ride, and we were able to work with vehicle maintenance to get a 3rd car. Basically, right now we're on a peak direction, peak train, and we've tried to roll out more of these 3 car trains to provide an extra capacity in the direction of travel. Fortunately, they go back and forth, so then you get that bonus going both ways. But we also have 10 cars on order from Siemens in California. We exercised that option when we realized that we needed more rolling stock. So we'll have more trains in the future that look a lot like the one we're on today, which has the brand new seats and is one of our newer trains. These are nice vinyl inserts. You can't see them, but for those at home, we have new vinyl triangle patterned, easy to wipe down, easy to clean seats that have really made a difference in onboard hygiene and are one of the things we were excited about as well.
So we're leaving Judkins Park, and we're about ready to head to Mercer Island. So the exciting part of this voyage, getting ready to go over the floating component here.
Yeah.
Tell us a bit about why this is so innovative and creative and exciting for you.
So right now we're in the Mount Baker Tunnel, which is a converted portion of I-90. We're about to get out onto the Homer Hadley floating bridge. This is the only floating bridge with a train on it anywhere in the world. It's an incredible mix of our lake is too deep and too silty to build a traditional fixed span bridge, so the bridges we have float. In the 70s, regional leaders got together and envisioned conversion to light rail, which we were able to do after voters approved ST2 in 2008. And so what we have is, as we go from the fixed to the floating, special independent floating track bridges that allow the rails to move and flex with the rotation of the lake. They can rotate in all directions. We're getting close to them now. For those at home,
look at that view.
Yeah.
Mount Rainier in all its splendor. So we are on these new type of system and new type of rails
we just
right now.
rolled over it. You
Okay.
couldn't feel it. It was designed so effectively. But as we have crossed over from fixed to floating, and we are about to hit the floating section itself, we're sitting on top of 7 different components that make up this ultra lightweight concrete block plinth system that supports our rails, that protects the bridge from electrical insulation, that allows us to be moving at 55 miles an hour on a floating bridge on a train, which again, never done anywhere in the world. Look at that mountain.
This is why you live in Seattle, for days like this. This is a gorgeous day.
Yeah, it is such an engineering marvel. As we do this, Henry, I've got a question for you. We need your advice. How do we become popular like you on Instagram? Do you have any advice for us? As I've got Curt over here shooting in horizontal video mode. I think that's probably step number 1. But anyway, go on.
Oh yeah, my 2 tips are vertical video if you're going for vertical format, and get an incredibly cool job where you get to be at the cutting edge of the world's first floating bridge, and otherwise get to run around and learn about trains. I mean, you guys have a great audience. People at work were really excited when I said I was going to do GeekWire. They were like, "Oh, that's so cool. Tell us how the interview goes." But I think one of the things that I've seen personally, and that the agency has seen over the last year, is people in the Central Puget Sound are really, really invested in public transportation. It's a testament to the voters having approved 3 different ballot initiatives and laid out a vision for us to build this high-capacity transit network. It's a testament to the fact that people are staring out the window at the mountain right now on what is, in addition to being a technical marvel, I think the most beautiful stretch of light rail anywhere in the country. And I'll compete with any heavy rail metro system too. But, we benefit very greatly from overwhelming popular support, from public interest in what it is that we do. And nobody at Sound Transit takes that for granted. We know that we have a mandate. We also know that we have an obligation. And so when we opened this train, it was a huge moment in delivery, and also in, people having a lot of faith in us doing something that had not been done before. So it's nice to see everybody out riding and enjoying it.
What can you say about what this will mean for the connection points between the tech community in Seattle and the tech community in Bellevue and Redmond? What sort of economic benefits do you see based on these 2 communities being tied closer together because of the light rail system?
I think what we've seen from our jurisdictional partners, I'm grateful that I get to work with Mayor Bernie, the Mayor of Redmond, and Mayor Mo. We got to do a video with them. These leaders on the east side that sit on our board have built up, and Claudia Balducci, who I should mention, longtime Sound Transit board member as well, that the east side has been building for this, both in terms of apartments and housing and building around light rail, and also then Microsoft, Meta, T-Mobile's a little further away. They're, I guess, a 4-line station connection. But we have this massive community and access to jobs on the east side, massive access to jobs downtown. I mean, think about like the South Lake Union campus is, for those tech jobs, they're a 10-minute walk from Westlake. And once you're on the train, it's 20 minutes from Westlake to downtown Bellevue every time. Every 8 to 10 minutes, you can just keep going. And so that kind of consistent, regular, reliable commute, that kind of regular, reliable connection where you're just going from place to place, you're just back and forth, it's a real advantage for employers that are looking for being able to use this as a recruitment tool. We know that people built their offices around the stations. It's been fun to see all of the Microsoft ads about how excited they are about light rail coming to serve their campus. You know, I should say my mom, who works at Microsoft, is very excited about having the train on campus to be able to take it.
Where does she ride from?
Well, my mom is more of a bus commuter because she's got the 520 connection. But there was some discussion this week about coming to join me at Pioneer Square Art Walk. And she was just going to get on at Redmond Tech and get off at Pioneer Square. The thing that transit does really well is lets you just get on and go and expand your just every aspect of your life. From I'm going to do my commute, I'm going to leave, I'm going to duck out, I'm going to go to a baseball game, I'm going to go to a World Cup game. All of these things are now super accessible, and you don't have to think, you don't have to plan, you don't have to stress about parking. Like, all of those things tie together really nicely in this transit access.
What would you say about the engineering and the innovation? Because I was also like watching a video from one of your engineers about how they're keeping the electricity away from the water, basically.
Yeah. So straight current and cathodic protection were two of the enormous engineering challenges. Basically, the floating bridge is a giant concrete boat. And one thing that you don't want when you're counting on concrete to keep you floating is electricity, because that's how you get corrosion. So I talked about the 7 layers of protection when we were on the floating bridge very briefly. There are multiple systems designed to take straight current off the bridge. The current stays between the wires and the rails, and then it gets out of there. There's a whole brand new technology that's been used elsewhere, but that is in the bridge and that is updated, that basically identifies and keeps track of where all of the electricity is, shunts it away from the bridge. We're protecting the cables that anchor it to the water, the bridge deck itself, everything else. It wasn't just putting rails that move on the bridge, it was also making sure that the electrical insulation that powers this trains, this 1500 volts, stays away from the bridge deck that's keeping the train and all the cars next to it going across the lake. I can't recommend enough watching all those videos with Sean Slavin, who is one of the engineers that led the project, that are on our Instagram account, or the big YouTube video that our video team worked really hard on exploring like the technical challenges behind this bridge. But it was an incredibly complicated effort, and the technology behind it is in use here. You know, people kept asking us, are there lessons learned from this project that might apply elsewhere? And sure, if there's another floating bridge across a super deep lake, but there was a lot that was kind of created just for this, that we're rolling with, that we're really proud of, and that I think is really cool.
All right, Henry, we're coming up here. Are we getting close to Bellevue now?
We are in Bellevue now. We just went through South Bellevue. This is East Main, and then you'll go through a tunnel that takes you right under the heart of downtown Bellevue, and you'll pull right out into downtown Bellevue Station, where you'll be able to see 405 as you go over it, and enjoy the rest of your very short ride from here on out to Redmond Technology Station, which is quite nice.
All right, well, Henry Bendon, at Henry on board on Instagram, Public Information Officer for Sound Transit. Thank you so much for playing along, for jumping on board with us. And do you have any parting thoughts for us?
Well, I have a parting question. I mean, you're such an Instagram star. What have been your favorite Instagram moments documenting the train?
Oh, I will say there's been some great work by a lot of people who do a lot of great content around town. One of the things we're trying to figure out at Sound Transit is there is that moment, and you experienced it, you did it in real time, where the train pulls out onto the bridge, and you realize that. And we've seen that a lot on social media, people having that moment, and we want to know what we should call it. What should that moment where you get out on the bridge be called?
Isn't there an old sign on when you're going through the tunnel heading westbound? Doesn't it say Portal to the Pacific?
Indeed.
So maybe there's a play off that. But you're now going the opposite direction. So you need it going Portal to Mercer Island. Doesn't have as much of a ring to it, does it, Todd?
I think we can workshop that one.
Let's workshop it. Let's get some good alliteration going.
Let's invite GeekWire Podcast listeners, if you have an idea for the name of that moment when you go, and how would you describe it exactly?
It's the moment when you're leaving the Mount Baker Tunnel and you're entering the floating bridge and you're heading eastbound with Mount Rainier to your right, glistening off Lake Washington, and I could even see Mount Baker to the north today. So, I mean, it's a beautiful, wonderful moment. What do you call this?
This question has been posed in the meeting that I am in every week with Sound Transit's incredibly talented marketing and graphic design folks, and this conversation is probably a testament to why they should do this as opposed to the PR and tech.
I got a suggestion, and it plays to your route out to Issaquah and a great Seattle area band, Modest Mouse. You got to play on the speakers as you hit there, Float On, right? And it just plays as you enter the floating part of the bridge.
I did run around one of the preview rides trying to put together a video that was people without them knowing doing the lyrics to Float On. And I gave up and I did it myself. But
yes.
It was, absolutely. That's literally it, is all of a sudden you're floating. So
there we go.
Henry, thank you very much.
Thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure to be here, and enjoy the rest of your ride.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Henry.
much. Yeah, come on over. You can get on the show with us. If you don't mind giving us your name. Give us your name.
My name's Luke, and I was just over to Winslow. I dropped off my car to my son-in-law, and so I just took the ferry, walked over, caught this, and coming back to get home.
And first time, I see a Microsoft backpack. Are you a tech worker, Microsoft worker?
I was part of one of those layoffs, guys.
What are you going to do now?
Still looking for more.
Okay. Do you want to put a pitch out on the podcast?
Hey, I am an Azure engineer, and I'm looking for more opportunities in Azure.
Shoot me an email with your information, Todd at GeekWire. Okay. Oh, look, a connection happening
Thanks,
right
guys.
there. Bye, Henry.
Thank you.
All right. Look at that, making connections.
Making
That
connections,
was a
Instagram followers.
GeekWork candidate.
That's
right.
Absolutely. Well, it just speaks to who's using the train, and so it's really interesting. I mean, now it has thinned out here, I will say. We're at the Bellevue downtown stop, and as we're heading and continuing eastbound to Redmond, we've lost some folks. But it was packed, wasn't it, Todd?
It was. So, John, this is amazing. We just had these great connections with these riders. We met tech worker who's looking for work. We have, just met all these sorts of interesting people, and it strikes me, I've always intended to go down to South Lake Union, to the Denny Triangle, and just like work from there day to day, or maybe like one day a week, in part because you just pick up on all this ambient conversation, but also you connect with people. I think maybe this should become the new tradition, like once a month. We just go on the train to Microsoft. Imagine all of the scoops we would get.
People are captive here, right? So you can just, or you force them to get off at another stop, and then they have to just wait 8 minutes to get the next train, which maybe people would want to do.
That's right. This is my
Oh,
stop.
yeah, I forgot. I have a meeting in Bellevue instead, so...
All right, so we are headed into the spring. We're almost to the Spring District. Oh, that's right. This was a big deal when they were developing that out.
Yeah, absolutely.
That the light rail would go there.
Yeah, so we're doing our GeekWire podcast live from the train, but you said, could you give us your name?
Chris Pearson,
And
inspector for the city of Bellevue.
and you said you did some inspections on the tracks here. Are we going to be safe for the rest of our ride out to Redmond?
You'll be safe in Bellevue. So, but no, we either pay $140 a month to park at City Hall, or we park at one of the parking rides and take the train in for free.
Oh.
Seems like an easy decision. What are you most proud of being part of this project?
Just to see it develop. I didn't think it was going to get very many riders, but when I leave sometimes at 5 o'clock, it's standing room only. So it's getting used.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for sharing your perspective, and thanks for your work on this impressive project.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. John, we saw the downtown Bellevue skyline there.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've seen certainly a major tech hub built up in downtown Bellevue over the last several years. Amazon moving thousands of jobs there. OpenAI, we were just at the OpenAI open house for their new operation in downtown Bellevue. Companies like Smartsheet. So there's certainly a major tech hub on what we call in Seattle the east side of the lake. And I think the promise here is that connecting these two major technology centers will lead to more cross-pollination between the business and tech community. I'm not sure what you think about that. Now, others would argue it allows the communities to kind of have leverage on one another to a degree as well.
Well, certainly you've seen Amazon make a statement to the city of Seattle over the years that their growth will be happening in their greater Puget Sound headquarters, which means Bellevue, effectively. And so I think you're right that this connection between the two hubs will only enable Amazon and others to have their growth outside of the city core more than they even would have otherwise. I got to tell you, though, John, my brain keeps going to something else completely in this, and that is the whole notion that people in Bellevue and beyond, in Redmond and all the way into downtown Redmond, are going to be able to jump on a train and be at the stadiums.
Oh, that's
just,
huge.
Within half an hour or
we
so.
should do this podcast someday on a game day, and I can only imagine how crowded it's going to be. This is speaking to the need to add more cars to these trains. I mean, it was crowded at 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the afternoon on a train. I can only imagine on a game day headed to Lumen Field for the Seahawks or T-Mobile Park for the Mariners.
Just reflecting back on the Bellevue skyline, as you were saying, that city and the skyline is not recognizable from 10 years ago. I mean, just the transformation that has taken place there. And it really does speak to the growth of the tech community, and especially the boom that we were seeing in the late 2010s. And this really is the result of all of that growth, this light rail expansion that we're seeing now. And I got to tell you, the other thing that I'm getting concerned about here is we're going to have to make an exit at the Redmond Tech Station, and I need to make sure I've got everything.
What do you mean?
All of my equipment.
You seem very portable today.
Yeah.
I was very proud of your setup.
Yeah, well, hopefully the mics will turn out. I tested it, just for audio nerds out there. I'm carrying a portable Zoom PodTrack P4, and I have 2 XLR mics. John, my one lesson from doing this over the years, not wireless. You've got to go wired.
Okay.
The wireless attempts that I've made have been disastrous. So we've got 2 wired XLR cords straight into the Zoom PodTrack P4.
I think that's the Snowflake headquarters.
We should mention, by the way, we're joined this week by Curt Schlosser, who has covered this story over the years and doesn't really want to be on the podcast, apparently.
Curt, why not?
He's just shooting video and photos for us as we go along, and we're headed to the Microsoft campus.
Curt, you've ridden this train more than anybody else on the GeekWire team. What are your impressions here on your second ride going across the floating bridge?
Well, the first time I rode it was with a bunch of media folks, so to come back and see it in real life, full of real commuters, is very encouraging. I just love that people are using it, and I think a lot more are using it than even what we're witnessing right now at this time of day.
Yeah, it does seem like they've been a little blown away by the usage here, and I know they don't have numbers yet, but boy, it does seem crowded.
All right, so now we're passing through Overlake Village, so we are actually one stop away from Redmond.
Now, Todd, it's moved pretty quickly for me, but that's maybe because we've just been jibber-jabbering the whole time. So
it is just about an hour that we've been on.
I
started recording just about an hour ago.
Okay. Well, it's a relatively smooth, easy ride, and as we said, you couldn't get a more picture-perfect day in Seattle.
That's because you're in Bellevue.
In the greater Seattle area.
All right.
Well, I guess we know we're in Bellevue. We're passing an Aston Martin dealership.
All right. All right, next stop, Redmond.
Now entering Redmond Technology. Doors to my left.
All right, John, we made it to Redmond. We're sitting here literally just to the side of the iconic Microsoft sign. And I know you've got to get back across the lake, but I'm going to take advantage of being here to see if I can infiltrate any of the Microsoft executive offices.
Okay,
while
look
I'm
out
here.
for those robotic security guards I'm seeing in front of the buildings.
Okay, I will. So I
Don't
know,
get zapped by a laser or something.
But before I say goodbye to you, I want to ask just overall impressions. We were just an hour ago in Northgate in Seattle, and here we are literally in the middle of Microsoft's campus. How does this feel to you? Does it feel like the future or something else?
It feels like a long time coming. I mean, Seattle is a big city with large companies, with a growing population, and it seems like this is the type of transportation options that big cities have. And I just wish we had it 20 years ago.
Now, that is a very glass half empty way of looking at this.
Really?
In some ways. It's funny.
Well, a long time coming. It's here. We're a big city with major corporations, and why shouldn't we have mass transit that connects different parts of our city?
So it's funny, John, I had a trivia question initially lined up before I chose a different one for this week, which we'll have later on. And The question was going to be back decades ago when Seattle residents rejected the idea of a transit measure, where did the money go instead? Do you know the answer?
Yes.
Everybody knows this.
Atlanta,
for MARTA. So,
which I've also ridden.
You've also ridden.
I have ridden that, and it's okay.
All right. Well, as an engineering marvel, I think it's a remarkable thing.
Yeah, it's a beautiful train. It's a beautiful voyage. We were doing this on such an awesome day. It's in the high 60s, beautiful sun. You could see the mountains in both directions. When you ride the train going eastbound or westbound across the lake, there's really no place like this. I mean, it is such a great place that we get to live and report on, and I just feel very thankful that I get to be here with you.
And that's very nice of you, John. I should say. I got to tell you, one thing I'm going to try is taking the 44 bus, which is literally a block away from my house. It starts a block away from my house to the University District Light Rail Station and see how long it takes for me to get solely on public transit from my house to this very spot where we are right now.
Well, you know what we need to bring back, Todd? We have a tradition at GeekWire where we've done the Great Race, right? Where we pick 2 points and we either leave from the GeekWire offices in Fremont or we could leave from your house in Ballard. And we all see who can make it here to the center of Microsoft campus, the Microsoft sign first. And we will use different modes of transportation. One person will drive, one person will bike. That's a long bike ride, by the way. I'm not doing that. One person will take the train. I guess we got to have an Uber in there. Maybe we'll bring Tim Ellis back to do his one-wheeler.
Perfect. I love it. Tim Ellis, one-wheeler across the 520 bridge.
Yeah, he can do it. I've seen him do crazier things.
All right. Well, very good, John. Thank you for joining me, and I'll let you get back on that train and head back over to Northgate.
Thank you, Todd.
Next up, we go inside Microsoft headquarters, where I bump into a special guest. Hey, Brad.
Hello, Todd. How are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
So you've been riding the train.
All right, we are here with Brad Smith, Microsoft's president. Brad, it's great to have you here on the show.
Well, it's great to have you in our office, Todd. Thanks for coming over.
So my colleague John Cook and I rode over on the 2 line. It was our first time across the lake. We survived.
Awesome. Good. I'm glad you survived. I would have been shocked if you didn't.
So, Microsoft has been involved in this project for more than 2 decades, donating land, supporting ballot measures, fighting initiatives that threatened the funding. What does the Cross Lake connection mean to the company, to its employees, and your future in this region?
Well, I think it adds to the quality of life to people who live here. There's a nonprofit that I think captures it in its name, the Transportation Choices Coalition. People today have a choice they didn't have a month ago. If they live in Seattle and they want to come to Bellevue, if they want to come to Redmond, if they want to come to work at Microsoft, they can take the train. If they work at Microsoft and they want to leave the campus and get to a ball game at T-Mobile Park, they can take the train. If they want to get to the airport, they can take the train. Those choices matter. It adds to how people can plan their day. It takes cars off the road. Everybody benefits, even the people who are not on the train itself.
It took nearly 60 years from the first serious transit proposal for trains to having a train actually cross the lake. What does that say about how we build big things in this region and how it could improve?
Well, look, the reason it took 60 years rather than, say, 25 is because first the region said no. It turned down the federal initiative. And I think that shows the unfortunate legacy of an opportunity lost. I would say these kinds of projects always take time. They typically take anywhere, decades, not years. But yeah, it did take maybe more time here just because of the laborious decision-making processes we sometimes employ. 5 ballot measures. I might say that's 4 more than I wish it had taken. But what really matters is people stuck with it. We did, many people did, the Transportation Choices Coalition did, Amazon did, so many, Dow Constantine, all these people stuck with it, and that's what it takes. A lot of people working together for a long time.
You and Amazon, you all are like buddy-buddy lately. It's like the Red Sox and the Yankees getting together all of a sudden.
I wouldn't call us the Red Sox and the Yankees, but let's just say the Sonics and the Mariners, or the Mariners and the Seahawks. Because on local issues, I always try to remind our folks here, when it comes to local issues, we're not competing with Amazon. We're working together. Any day that Amazon does something that is good for the community, and it does many good things for the community many days, and any day it gets credit and recognition, that's good because it's good for the tech sector, it's good for the business community. The business community does so many good things for this community, most people don't know about it. And I think it's just really important for people to be aware that businesses do more than create jobs. We invest in nonprofits. We support civic initiatives. We're part of the Washington Roundtable. A lot of local employers, including Microsoft, are part of Challenge Seattle. That matters. And if you look at the tagline in our recent ad, I really look at that, and I think it says it all. You cannot have a healthy business without a healthy community. You cannot have a healthy community without healthy businesses. We're all in this together.
It's funny. You're repeating the ad that's going to appear on this very podcast, we should say.
That's good. Get it for free and for paid.
I'm watching the clock, Brad. I would ask you all sorts of questions about taxes and the millionaire's tax and all sorts of issues happening in Olympia. However, we're going to have to save that for another time because it is time for the GeekWire Trivia Challenge.
Pop quiz, hotshot. This is GeekWire's Trivia Challenge.
Wouldn't you prefer a good game of chess?
I got to go. I'm out of time, Todd.
Okay. My colleague John Cook and I just rode the world's first light rail on a floating bridge from Seattle to Redmond across Lake Washington on Interstate 90 here in Washington State. However, the world's first commercially successful electric streetcar actually launched 140 years ago in 1886, Brad. Here is your question, and it's multiple choice. Don't worry. I should have said this. All right, you ready? In what city did that first electric streetcar debut? Was it A, San Francisco, California? Now, that's got to be a good... I'm
going to listen to all the choices before I put my vote.
B, Akron, Ohio. C, Appleton, Wisconsin. Or D, Berlin, Germany.
Oh my
Let me give you your four again. And again, this is...
No, I got the four.
For the audience out there, the audience likes to play along too. The world's first commercially successful electric streetcar, 1886. San Francisco, Akron, Appleton, Wisconsin, or Berlin, Germany, Brad?
Was it Appleton?
It was, in fact, C, Appleton, Wisconsin. The Appleton Electric Street Railway Company began operating the world's first commercially successful electric streetcar on August 16th, 1886, powered by a hydroelectric generator on the Fox River. It ran until 1930. And yes, that is the hometown of one Brad Smith.
And just to be clear, for everyone listening, I've been around a long time, Todd. I was not on that train. Just to be clear, I wasn't even close to being, even my parents and my grandparents were not born at that time. But I definitely followed in the footsteps of that train.
Look at the innovation that was happening in your hometown.
There you go. It also had the first hydroelectric power plant based on water in Appleton, and it was there more than a decade before there was electricity in the White House. So Appleton engineering was at the forefront, at least in the 1800s.
Brad Smith, Microsoft president, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for coming over.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks to my colleague John Cook for making the train ride with me. This episode was produced and edited by Curt Milton. I'm GeekWire co-founder Todd Bishop. We will be back next week with a new episode of the GeekWire Podcast.